are back for another Super Tuesday recap of Black Lightning with the penultimate episode. It is called The Resurrection and the Light, the Book of Pain. I am your host, Shanna. I'm here with Dee and Parrish. Unfortunately, the doctor can't be with us here today. And first of all, we're going to start off with our impressions of the episode. Dee, how did you feel?
Okay, so I'm going to try this in the voice of The Rock. Finally, Tobias has returned to Freeland. That was like, Tobias shows up, finally. Generally, this episode was the episode I've been wanting like 2 episodes ago. And because of what a lot of what's in this episode, I'm kind of afraid that they're going to try to do way too much with the last one. I thought it was a pretty good episode. We got more confirmation that it seems China might be a far better actor than Nefessa. Lynn hooking up with Jefferson was, I don't know, seemed somewhat awkward. Kind of, not so much awkward, just sort of kind of out of the blue. But I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Parrish, how did you feel about the episode?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. I like the end with the fight scene. That was pretty cool. They did some explanations on what was going on, which we had already kind of pieced together, but to have that info dump was kind of interesting. Tobias is back. Tobias is my boy. He's the guy I love to hate. So that's always a plus. And it was a pretty good episode.
So I have some qualms and some gripes, some quipes. Shout out to Nina and John over on Podcast Fandom. I have quipes. I have quibbles and issues. Overall, it was a decent episode. As a penultimate episode, it felt really, really rushed. And I just feel like there were a couple of little things they could have seeded. I hate when a character disappears for episodes and episodes and then comes back and all of a sudden it's just a whole new storyline. And that's how I felt about the Khalil thing. So I have some issues with some of what we saw. And we'll get into it when we go into the different characters. But I want to start with Jefferson and Lynn because this, to me, is exactly what I mean when I say they are pushing something out of nowhere in order to get to a plot point that they want to talk about later and to make it have more emotional depth. But had they built it properly in the first place, it would have had that same emotional depth. So Lynn, out of nowhere, is like, Jefferson, come over. I really need you. And then when he shows up, she's in the negligee talking about, I thought I saw a spider.
Oh, my God. That was...
Okay, was I the only one that thought if I didn't know any better, that would have sounded like the start of a really bad porno?
Yes, because it was so not Lynn. It was not Lynn.
Okay.
This woman, first of all,
go ahead.
Her just calling him over out of nowhere to have sex. This is the same woman who, like, a couple weeks ago, like, she's always flirted with him, and I get that, but, like, I'm calling you over to have sex? My ex-husband, who apparently I haven't been with for, like, 9 years.
Who I mean, clearly still love.
Yeah,
right?
But like, flirting or not, like, that's 0 to 100.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, what pissed me off about it was that the only reason they did it is so that later, when she is trying to take away Jennifer's powers, it could be this whole thing of like, well, I'm glad we didn't tell the girls we're getting back together. That was the whole reason we had this scene in the beginning.
I think at this point I'm not going to say jaded. I'm just a little cynical about the family in general, so I just kind of let that pass. But you're absolutely right.
Like, hey, they at least got the music right.
Oh, the music was great, and I wanted it to happen, like in the sense that I've been wanting since the beginning for Jefferson and Lynn to get back together. It was just literally done so that they could have this moment, and then later it could all fall apart halfway through the episode. And it's just it's not. That's not good pacing. That's not good writing, and it really frustrated me.
Well, I mean, I've said this for several weeks now. Like, again, I mean, I like the show. I'm still watching the show. We're still doing the recap because we could have scrapped this if we really didn't like the show. But I just, it is very frustrating in that the way in which they write this family. Sometimes it's just so lazy that it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, I think I've just gotten to the point where I'm just a little cynical about it. I'm just like, okay, just cook.
Okay. I knew I was going to be the one. I knew I was going to be the one that was not going to be able to let it go. Like, as soon as I watched it, I was like, this is some bullshit.
But I mean, I'm not saying it's not valid. It is perfectly valid. I'm just at this point, I'm like, yeah, but I kind of expect this kind of thing to happen now. Yeah. I'm just there at this point with that. So
what I do like about not them hooking up, but what I do like about the Lynn trying to find like a cure or suppressing the gene, the metahuman gene, is that that's a really interesting storyline. That's something that could be used against them as a weapon, even though it's something that Jennifer's asking for now. And I think that'll be really interesting. But again, I thought it would be really interesting to have Lynn like figure out all this green light stuff and have her be a part of that. And they didn't do anything with that. So
it seems like a weird play. I think you're right. It seems like a weird place to introduce this, like with one episode to go.
Mm-hmm. And it would have been really cool. See, when I think of this stuff they could have did with Lynn as a scientist, like what if she was working for the ASA and didn't even know it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that could have been a really interesting storyline.
Or what if the whole time
she could still be? I mean, granted,
I think they're going to take her research and use it against Black Lightning, episodes. But I don't know if it's going to turn out that she was working for them, but I think they are going to take her research and use it.
Yeah,
because it seems like, I mean, so if I'm reading this correctly, she is finding the metahuman gene and isolating it based upon the research that she just started with her daughters. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it would have made more sense that was what she was researching in the first place, and she was keeping it a secret from her family and her husband. Ooh. Then you would be completely justified in being pissed off and walking away.
Mm-hmm. Or if we're gonna like continue me like rewriting the show and my fan fiction, it would also be really interesting. That would make a really interesting topic for a crossover episode.
Mm-hmm.
If Lynn figured out a way to like stop metahumans, that would be something that the Flash might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but okay, but how would that crossover work though? Because
they literally make different Earths work. They can find a reason.
Right. Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like so the Flash and probably, to be honest, Oliver and
No,
maybe even Supergirl.
no,
Maybe
I
not
don't
so
think
much.
you need all that. I think
But
we've
wouldn't it be
gotten used
weird
to
to see
these.
all those white people in Freeland?
No, I think, well, first of all, I don't think you need to have everybody crossover. Like, this idea that the crossover has to include every single show is ridiculous. You could literally have an episode where, like, a 2 night episode, especially since The Flash and Black Lightning come on the same night, correct? I almost never watch them live, so I don't know. But like, you can have like a 2 hour episode where like they find out that somebody has found a way to get rid of metahumans, and like the Flash comes to Freeland, and then like
Well,
Black
you probably
Lightning
have to
comes to
to be
Central
honest, you'd
City.
probably have to bring Cisco and what's her name too.
Yeah, but that's just the Flash characters.
Okay.
Like, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be like a 5 night every single show involved. And I actually think it would be funny because Stephen Amell has been campaigning so hard for Black Lightning and Arrow to have a crossover. I think it would be hilarious if he didn't get it, and it would.
See, I think a Black Lightning Arrow crossover could work. The problem is, I don't want Arrow crossing over.
Yeah, that's not how a crossover works, though.
I honestly, I'd rather have John Diggle.
But that, again, that's still not the
Maybe
Arrow.
maybe have his. Granted, I haven't
Like,
watched Arrow in a while, and I don't know if his brother's still a plot point.
his brother is dead.
But
He
maybe
killed him.
okay.
Spoiler alert for anybody who's behind on Arrow. He killed his brother. Diggle.
Okay. Well, never mind then. but I still think Diggle would make more sense with what they're trying to do with
Diggle only makes sense because
Black
he's
Lightning.
black.
Instead
That's
of-
it. Like, Diggle literally only makes sense because he's black.
Well, I don't think. Okay, but I don't think Arrow makes a whole lot of sense either.
Yeah, I don't think Arrow does either. I think the Flash does. It's just Amell is the one who keeps constantly campaigning for Arrow to have a crossover.
It's because he feels like he's the Robert Downey Jr. of this point.
So he feels like he has to be involved in everything.
Right.
All right. So that's Jefferson and Lynn. Whatever. They're probably never going to come back to this again. Who knows? He got mad. He got mad at her, and they're probably still going to end up making out by the end of the finale.
We're gonna get, and then we'll get more Tyrone Davis.
Oh yeah, that was great though. It's like, yes, hit me with these old school jams right now.
But that's song though. I mean, you know what's about to happen when you hear that song.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was like. Lynn ain't slick.
Like, you look at the cover of the track and you know what's about to happen.
Ugh, ridiculous. Lynn ain't even slick.
Rest in peace, Tyrone.
Yeah. and I mean, at least I'll give him this. Like, at the beginning, she kind of said that she was awkward. That certainly was awkward.
Oh yeah, it was. It definitely was. I see. You know what I really wish they had given us this season? I really wanted a flashback. I wanted young Jefferson and young Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, like, to me it didn't even have to be like the origin story of Black Lightning. Like, I didn't need that, but I wanted to see them when they were happy and together.
Okay, so do you think let's assume they do that for season 2? Do we know if season 2 is still going to remain 13 episodes or if it's jumping up?
I don't think they've announced their episode order, or if they have, I haven't seen it.
Or episode count? Oh yeah. Because that would be a great plot line for season 2, but I'm the way if they keep writing it the way that they have been, they
I'm trying to remember
I don't
when
know.
Legends
Go
premiered.
ahead.
Was the first season 13 or was it 18 out of the gate?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The first season of Legends, was it 18 or was it 13?
It was 18.
Okay.
It's 18.
So, yeah, I don't know if they're going to up the series order. Personally, I don't think it's necessarily about having more episodes. The Flash has too many.
No,
Arrow
and
has
last
too
week
many.
I said I kind of feel like they needed less because it would have made the writers ideally make the story a little tighter.
Yeah, like sometimes it's not about having more time to tell your story. It's about being efficient with the time that you have.
Like, I don't see any reason why this story couldn't have been told in 8 episodes.
I mean, not even that. I mean, I think 13. I think 13 is a good. 10 is great. 13 is a decent amount. Either way, I just feel like they're just not. They were not being economical with their storytelling, and they, like I said, pushing certain storylines or pushing characters in certain ways that are out of character in order to fit the plot rather than letting the characters grow into the plot. That was really the issue that I had with this season. And overall, still a pretty decent season of TV. But I don't know. Maybe my standards are just really high now. Like we've just gotten so much good stuff.
Time to actually grow.
Yeah, that too. I think in general, like shows don't get the time to grow that they used to have. Like if you think of like some of your favorite shows from back in the day, a lot of them had shitty first seasons.
Oh yeah, like I just finished my rewatch of Deep Space Nine, and you know, getting to the end and you think about the first 2 seasons of that show, and you think the only reason why I made it to the end of this is because there were limited options at the time.
Yeah. And also because that was the thing, was like studios were less inclined to like restart and fund a whole new show. They'd rather put their money in letting the current show improve. So I get it, and I'm not being extra hard on this show. I just think knowing they're not ignorant of how the TV landscape is now. They could have done better. It could have been tighter. And also they kind of got a chance to create in a vacuum. That was the thing that made this show different, was that they had the ability to pretty much like script out their entire season and film it before any episodes have premiered. So to me, when you have that and you're not having to like listen to the feedback and the noise, like make it really tight. Like, take your time. So I guess that was, you know, it's probably gonna finish pretty decently. I think they could have done better, and I think the fact that they really had to rush through some stuff in this episode in order to set us up for the finale, they could have been setting us up episodes ago. So.
Agreed. I think the secret, I guess what we're going to have to look at is next season. Did they learn their lessons that we wanted them to learn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like now that they've heard the feedback, now that they've had a chance to hear what people are saying, like I am really interested to see what a second season looks like.
You know what? I haven't even really been paying attention to the feedback on the show, just because I have a tendency, if I'm doing a review of a show, I don't pay attention to what anyone is writing about it. So what is the general?
Oh, I was totally saying that, like, I think they listen to our podcast.
Oh,
because I don't listen to a lot about it either.
Yeah, I just don't, I don't want to bias, my own opinion about it by constantly reading and listening to other people's recaps of the show. So
same.
I really haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, I'm saying it like clearly everybody agrees with whatever we're saying, and I hope the writers like have a chance to listen to our podcast.
Well, of course, yeah, because we're the place to go for the Black Lightning recap.
I mean, obviously.
Obviously.
Of course.
All right. Jennifer and Khalil. So Khalil shows up. And it's like tied to Tobias, but I'm going to save Tobias till last. Khalil shows up with Locs walking around.
Okay. I get why they... Given what you see later on, I get why they did that.
I know that they are trying to make him look closer to the comic book character. But honestly, the fact that he was walking was secondary to that horrible, horrible wig to me.
Yeah, that was that was my complaint. Like, they could have just maybe given him a nice fade and change it up with the comp. Change it up. It doesn't. He didn't need to.
They could have frosted his tips, and it would have been better.
just I mean, change that up, dog.
The Locs could have been a season 2 thing.
Exactly. They came back season 2 with the Locs.
I mean, it's not like it's the first time we've seen, the TV series make a sort of a change from a look that's in the comics. So,
yeah.
No, but one of the things I actually do like about a lot of shows that are based on comic book properties is that they play with our notions of what a character should look like. Mm-hmm. And so they do the, okay, we're going to give you this villain or this character, but they're going to look like this. And then they'll slowly get to look like the character that you know. So like it could have been a season 2 thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I will give them this much. His lock wig looks so much better than Michonne's on Walking Dead and Ezekiel's. So, shout out to the CW wig department for being slightly better than the Walking Dead wig department.
Is Ezekiel the voice actor dude?
Mm-hmm. Curry Payton.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he shows up with these locks. And a whole ass attitude with Jefferson.
I'm just saying, like, my first impression when I saw him in that interaction was like, Khalil got his Hotep starter kit.
Okay, and
but you know why? But we knew that was coming, though. We knew that was coming.
This was my thing that I hate. Characters do this. I hate when characters do this on television. Someone is saying something to you, but they are getting the whole story wrong, and you don't call them out on that. Khalil was out here rewriting all the history. Mm-hmm. You didn't want your daughter near me the minute I got hurt. You didn't care about me the minute I was in a wheelchair. Last time I checked, Jefferson and Jennifer were the only people visiting your ass in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, that's true, but we knew he was going to come back with an attitude.
It's not that he came back with the attitude. It's that Jefferson didn't check that shit.
Right. And it's not that we didn't know it was coming. It was the way it was executed.
Like, if I was like Jefferson, I'd have been like, my daughter didn't break up with you because you got hurt. My daughter broke up with you because you was out here telling lies in these streets about her. So everybody just conveniently forgot that and didn't mention it. And then on top of it, that's what pissed me off about Jennifer, because Jennifer is out here like, Khalil can walk? I gotta go see him. Last time we talked, you had to tell him about himself and break up with him. But now all of a sudden, you're so in love with Khalil and can't wait to see him again?
They didn't hate you because you were hurt. They hated you because you were a dick.
Thank you.
This is a Twitter rant. It's not them, it's you, dog. You're a dick.
Such a dick. He's an asshole. And even how they tried to give him that little like twinge of like, oh, you mean I gotta go to the school and hurt people? Weren't you just saying how much you can't stand everybody in the school? And again, nobody in the school turned on him.
And then the other part about it, we haven't got to it yet, but I'm gonna throw it out there: the speed with which he turned on Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's total nice guy TM, y'all.
Okay,
he's a dick.
Yeah. So he texts her. So Jefferson comes to Jennifer and he's like, oh, Khalil can walk and da-da-da. And she's all like, hey, yay, like, oh, like, and he's like, but something's up with him. Cause like, Avi, I like how like everybody's like, he can walk and everybody's just going to brush aside how, the how part of that. And so then Khalil texts her, and I have forgotten that they weren't staying at their regular house. So she comes over, goes out onto the roof, and he's waiting there looking like a villain, just in the shadows. And he starts telling her like he's trying to be. He's like, like when I was hurt, I lost myself. I didn't know who I was anymore, and I'm so sorry, Jennifer. Da-da-da-da. But look at me, I'm great now. I can walk. Look at this steel rod hanging out of my back with exposed skin.
Right,
nigga, like that looks like it needs peroxide. What are you doing? I was like, what is happening? I love it too, because like Jennifer was being such like your typical teenager until she saw that steel rod sticking out of his back, and she was like,
He's like, pump the brakes a little bit.
I was like, yes, call him on this bullshit. Come on, guys. Like, what's happening here? What's happening right now? And
like I said, I was expecting him to be sitting on that roof chewing on a licorice root. I'm just saying.
It was very, like, I don't even know. Like, the way he was sitting on the roof with, like, one foot out and, like, I don't know, like, in the shadows, like, I've been waiting for you. It was, like, so extra. You just knew he had gone. It's like when we found out that the vice principal was like evil, and the next thing you know, she was wearing like flared coats and like her boobs were hanging out. It's just like so extra villain. Like now that we know you're a villain,
no subtlety,
and I'm here for it.
So over the top, so done.
I'm here for it.
So what happened? So then he got mad because she started asking questions like any normal person would do about the about how he can walk. She asked normal questions. He turns into like immediate MRA. And just like, why are you questioning me? Is this your dad? Da-da-da. And just like
with you anyway.
Yeah. And then jumps off the roof because he can do that now. Because now he's a superhuman. And he can just jump off roofs.
Mm-hmm.
I can't with Khalil. And so then Tobias.
One thing I didn't like was when Jennifer asked him about the braids. He said it was a side effect of the medicine.
Oh yes. Okay.
I'm like, yeah. When I'd like to know the medicine that caused you to grow that much hair.
This is another reason why the hair thing could have waited till next season. Because this was the flimsiest of flimsy excuses.
I'm gonna be 100% real with y'all. Like, if I knew that I created something that made people's hair grow like that, that's it. That's a wrap. I'm not working on this top secret soldier shit. I'm making all the money growing people's hair back.
Right? I mean, you take that to any black beauty salon and you pay for forever. You know how much black women spend on our hair?
Bruh, I got this little thinning in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. The ASA is totally wasting their time.
They sitting on a gold mine, yo.
Ridiculous. ridiculous.
So the weird thing is, in the comics, Painkiller has like cornrows.
No, he has locks. Or at least one incarnation of him does, and I'm so glad they didn't go. You know what I love about comic book TV shows and movies is the writers having to figure out a way to be not as racist as the comics were. So apparently there's an iteration of him where he has locks, and the locks have knives in them.
Wow. Wow.
When I looked it up, I was like, they were like, yeah, he has locks, and his locks have knives.
We make him a picture of the podcast.
I should. I'm like that gif right now. I'm like that gif of that little boy. It's like, that's racist. It's like, why would his locks have knives? That is just nothing but straight racism. Yeah, so yeah, he talks about how the regenerative whatever that fixed his back is what caused him to grow locks. Also, like, locking takes time. Like, even if your hair is growing really fast.
Look, all I'm saying is that there's more than one way to rule the world, okay? If you could get people to grow hair back like that, you rule the world.
So angry.
I'm just saying.
So angry.
Who's not gonna buy that product though?
I mean, I already told you, you're gonna make all the money off black women. All the money. If I can grow my hair out that fast.
And men who refuse to come on home.
What?
You've never heard that term or phrase? It basically means that dudes that who are balding so much, it would just be better for them to just shave it all off.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, so we know that Khalil is Painkiller, but they never confirmed it on the show. It was confirmed afterwards because the press photos for it, the photos that were released by the CW, called him Painkiller. And they finally gave him a last name. His last name is Pain.
I didn't even know any of that because I have a gaping hole in my knowledge of DC Comics. So, yeah. Okay.
So what happened was that
Khalil Painkiller.
Oh, yeah, because Painkiller doesn't have an alias in the comics.
That's just terrible.
Like in the comics, Painkiller doesn't have a government name. He's just known by his alias. So basically, they just took Khalil's character and made him that, and then they gave him the last name Pain. And then it's the same way with the Tobias's right-hand girl character, Cyanide. Like, technically the show has never called her that, but that's how she's listed on IMDb.
I swear I thought they had once.
No. I don't think he's ever referred to her by a name. Like, he's always just like, you, or come here, or, you know, like, he's never called her by her name that I've seen. So yeah, Khalil's Painkiller. And then he goes to the school. Well, I'll go back to Tobias and we'll go through Tobias's story. So Tobias shows up with Proctor, and Proctor basically tells him, he's like, look, all of this has just been this big experiment. We've been trying, like, it gave people powers, but we've never been able to, like, really utilize it because most of the people die. And we want you to get Black Lightning alive because we think he's one of these kids that took this what's the vaccination, but somehow he survived, and we need to know how, because we're about to like lose the rest of these kids. I like how it's like framed. This is like, how are we gonna save these kids? And it's like, you put them in this situation in the first place. So he is now tasked, Tobias and Khalil, with bringing Black Lightning back alive. So now Tobias can't even kill him, which Tobias decides to make up for that by killing the guy who saved his life but left his sister to die.
Yeah, we all saw that coming, though.
I
felt really bad for dude. Because like technically he did his job. His job is to protect Tobias.
Yeah, but to be fair, and I know this is spur of the moment type deal, but it would have been better for him to have a dead Tobias and a dead sister than just an alive Tobias.
Yeah, but that's not how people think.
Yeah, true, but still.
Yeah, that's not how people think, though. Like, yeah, if you're a hench person, your whole thing is like saving the person you're supposed to save. But like, honestly, you should let them die because they're horrible and cruel. But nobody ever thinks of it that way.
Well, he's saving his paycheck.
Yeah, that's how they think of it. Yeah, like and if you're smart, you save yourself and take over. But you know, we've already figured out that these people are not that smart.
Look, my man had to have had some evil henchman sick leave. Like after Tobias' sister died, I'd have called in sick.
Do you think they get PTO?
If so, then he wasn't using it. That's clearly a time to use your leave.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's a hench person, because he's not that.
It was just been putting off his death. he knew that.
But yeah,
he was like, maybe Tobias will wake up and be realize that I had to do this, but no, that was a chance that he really didn't need to take.
No, Tobias kills. Well, I like how Tobias just like kind of knocks him out, and then Homegirl comes in and just kills him. I really like her.
Wrong on me.
You're so impulsive.
I really, really like her. So then Tobias tasks Khalil with going to the school and starting shit so that Black Lightning will show up and they can capture him. Which is actually pretty smart because, like he said, Black Lightning shows up to save people. So we just have to put people in danger and Black Lightning will show up. So Khalil just goes in the school and he's just knocking people out. And so I guess those little cartridges they anesthetize people. Like it's not really power.
Yeah. Well, I guess at least from what I've read about Painkiller, his power is he's able to, I guess, temporarily paralyze like any part of the human body. So
yeah. But like Khalil doesn't have like powers like that. Like he has super strength because of whatever's in his spine, but his power, like he was like shooting basically like darts at people.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I also thought, because it was like green, I thought that maybe he was shooting people with green light, but I guess that's not the case. I thought maybe they were trying to like turn more kids. So then the vice principal is getting everybody out of the school. And then here comes Jefferson and Anissa around the corner with their superhero walk. I love how they have a superhero walk. Like Anissa's always strutting.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the situation. Like a situation where you feel like maybe you should run. No, and this is gonna strut in the in the door.
Mm-hmm.
I can't with her. So they decide to split up because Gambi doesn't have access to the security cameras. So they decide to split up, and Anissa ends up fighting Cyanide, which I thought was a amazing fight. That was so good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, although I fully expected Cyanide to win that fight, especially after she figured out what made Anissa tick.
I was really surprised that Cyanide didn't already
took Cyanide to be just the better fighter. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that would eventually win out, but obviously it did not. But
I was just really surprised that Cyanide didn't already kind of come in knowing how Anissa's powers work.
Also, I think that's another pacing issue, right? So if they had been a little tighter, maybe Cyanide would have had this fight earlier, and then you could have her win. Mm-hmm. But like, we got one episode to go.
Yeah, it wasn't even that necessarily I needed her to win, but I was just kind of surprised that she didn't already have an idea. Well, I understood that she didn't understand how Anissa's powers worked, and I was glad that like she figured that out during the course of the fight. But she was really surprised that she wasn't able to shoot Anissa, and that Anissa was kind of like knocking out her, like when Anissa broke her batons. And I was like, doesn't she know that she has like super strength and like can't be hit with bullets? Like, why doesn't she know this? Other people have fought Thunder at this point. Mm-hmm. So that was just really weird to me.
But what has Cyanide been doing while Tobias has been recovering?
I assume she's like his bodyguard, so like she's always with him.
Okay, so could she have been out of the loop when Thunder started really doing her thing?
But Thunder's fought the ASA, and they work for the ASA. Why would you send your people in there not knowing?
Yeah, not brief them. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed that they didn't brief them.
Yeah, I mean, clearly
so that's
they
why I'm
didn't.
like, I don't think ASA was. I thought that was kind of. ASA's intelligence wing needs work. They need better people.
I mean, because the fact that they didn't know where Gambi was.
They're going out trying to get Jefferson. Because he's got powers, and they're like, and Tobias could, I could have said, over here. Y'all don't. They clearly don't know what Tobias is. Even though he's been in their care for so long.
That's why I feel like we need more backstory on Tobias, because if Jefferson is one of the vaccinated kids, Tobias is technically supposed to be way older than Jefferson. So I wonder if whatever gave Tobias his powers predates whatever happened to Jefferson. This is kind of why we need like a timeline that they haven't given us yet.
True.
But yeah, Anissa has this big old fight with Cyanide. Cyanide figures out her powers work and almost takes her out. It was a really good fight. And then Jefferson is fighting Tobias, and he goes to blast him with lightning, and Tobias has some sort of anti-lightning suit on.
Smart man.
I love how Gambi's like, don't fight him hand to hand. Like, this will not work out for you. So, of course, Jefferson doesn't care. He goes to fight Tobias. Tobias basically whoops his ass. Gambi is like, Anissa, get over there as soon as you can. Your dad needs help. Khalil comes in, and I couldn't tell, like, did Khalil knock out Jefferson's powers? It didn't, or did he just hit him with one of those darts and it just took longer to knock Jefferson out?
Was. Okay. He hit him with a dart and that shorted him out somehow.
But it didn't knock him out because he's Black Lightning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Until Khalil does a running, flying punch straight to Jefferson's chest.
Oh, you missed the part.
Parrish, do you watch pro wrestling?
No, not since I was a kid.
Okay, so when he did that, and there's this wrestler named Roman Reigns, and his finishing move is called like a Superman punch. That's immediately what I thought about when I saw him do that little flying punch thing in the air. But
I love Roman Reigns. He's so fun.
Yeah. And he dates black women, so.
He does. All his family does. He's related to
which I find really, I find that funny. I don't know why. I just do. It's just the Usos are both married to black women. Roman's dating a black woman.
Wait, so that means Roman broke up with his ex, like his wife? Wasn't he married? Okay, now I gotta Google. Continue.
Yeah, he was married. I think he got divorced. I mean, you seen that commercial with the little kid, and they're doing "I'm a Little Teapot." You seen that commercial? Anyway, well, yeah, that's his real life daughter, and so I think at that point he and her mother had been divorced, and so he is now currently, as far as I know, dating a black woman.
Let me find out. Oh, okay. She's Okay. All right. Go on. Oh, sorry.
Yes, that was a really odd non sequitur.
Yeah, sorry. Now I'm going down a rabbit hole. Anyway. Parrish, you were saying we forgot something?
Oh, he threw a locker at him.
Oh, yeah. Well, my favorite part.
I just thought we should cover that too. He threw a full ass locker at Black Lightning.
I also enjoyed when Gamby basically told him, so I know you care a lot about this kid, but I'm gonna need you to knock him out.
He threw a locker at you. That kid gotta go. He gotta go.
Oh. I love it.
The other thing, I gotta go back, and I'm gonna be a problem right now, but we gotta rewind back to the fact that Khalil's mom is fine. That's all I gotta say.
Really?
Continue.
She was looking really. Haggard.
So you could see the fine in Haggard.
Okay.
I mean, she ain't seen her son. Her son couldn't walk. Some dudes just came and swiped him and told him that, they can make him walk again. I mean, I understand. All I'm saying is she was kind of fine.
Okay.
And she's kind of fine. I have to, Sky Marshall. I know y'all don't like, Sky Marshall. So, yeah. Okay, continue.
So, he punches Jefferson straight in the chest and apparently stops his heart. I don't even know what to say about this. I got nothing. I love how Tobias's whole reaction to that was just like, we were supposed to take him alive. How could you do that? I thought like Tobias would also feel some type of way about Khalil like taking out his enemy. Like the whole reason Tobias was upset in the first place was that he wanted to kill Black Lightning and he couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So like it just felt weird to me that his whole reaction was just like, oh man, you killed him. We weren't supposed to kill him. That sucks.
Really?
I just thought we would get a bigger like reaction.
I just like that sucks.
Right, like he literally spilled milk.
Yeah, That's what it felt like. It felt that anticlimactic. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thanks, Shanna, because I said I thought the show was pretty decent, and you just let me know that I just forgave a whole bunch of stuff and just roll with it.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I, again, didn't hate it. I just was like, this feels really rushed. We've introduced so much in this one episode. and now we got to tie it all up by next episode as well. So then here comes, what's her name? Anissa comes running right when they're about to take off Black Lightning's mask. And now, and literally ever since you said it, Parrish, like, ever since you said it, I'm like, how don't they recognize Jefferson? How don't they recognize this?
Because they can't even excuse it now. Because like apparently it's a part of his powers. Like he actively makes people not be able to see him, but the motherfucker's on the ground like unconscious. Yeah. So
I got nothing.
Well,
you wasn't maybe, nothing.
Well, maybe Thunder has that same sort of power, and maybe it sort of radiates and sort of it maybe envelops. Maybe she just produces sort of a large radius of people not being able to recognize her. I'm really coming up with terrible reasons because I got nothing.
You're reaching
because I think it's about I think it's as silly as y'all. I mean, I also knew that he wasn't going to remove that mask.
Yeah,
she was going to get there just in the nick of time, and something was going to happen.
I love it. She gets there just in the nick of time to like do her hand clap and knock everybody out, and then right when she's about to start like fighting them, here comes Cyanide out of nowhere to start shooting bullets. So then she has to protect Jefferson, and they get away. Why do you
have to remove the mask though? Like he has the same build as the principal of the school. He has the same moisturized beard as the principal of the school. I don't understand this.
He has the same hump in the back. That hump that Chris has.
Yeah, it was just so extra this time. I was like, really? We got to remove the mask? Okay, all right.
Let me go see who's under that mask. Really, really, my dog.
Although, if we're going to criticize the people of Freeland, we have to criticize the people of where Superman is and where Supergirl is, and pretty much half the Justice League, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's terrible.
It's ridiculous.
You know what? I mean, I the only thing I can think of is that like Tobias hates niggas so much that they now start to look alike to him.
He doesn't pay attention to like individual Negroes.
Right.
He's like, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was so funny. So then Jennifer comes and she shocks Jefferson's heart and brings him back to life because he was dead. Khalil had literally punched him so hard in the chest that he was dead. And Jennifer has to shock him back to life. Oh, this is so extra. Question: do we think next week Jennifer hops in a suit?
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see all three of them do a slow walk at some point together. We know that's going to happen.
We get the three superheroes slow strut. Oh my god, I can't with this show. All right, so the end scene is Tobias and Lala. So earlier in the episode, Lala's being Lala. He's putting his his crew through their paces because apparently one of his guys beat up a guy under him, and he's like, well, you just went and messed up because no one's gonna buy drugs from him, so now you're down a man. He's like he's like, leave the beating up to me basically. And then he gets this phone call, and the phrase that's said is, the devil deals the cards. And then we see Lala. Is that
from something that I just don't know about?
Not that I know of, but remember before we thought bring ass to get ass, they made that up, and apparently that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
From where?
It's from some old blaxploitation film.
Let's Do It Again. It's the sequel to Uptown Saturday Night, which I haven't seen in a smooth like 25 years, so I'm fine. I'm fine with not knowing that.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So he ends up. So we see him go after this guy. Was he Russian? Nobody remembers.
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
You mean the gun guy? No, I don't remember. Something. So, well, it looks like the devil deals the cards is. I don't know if that's where they grabbed it from, but it looks like it's a line from.
It's a line from The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Devil Went Down to Georgia, yeah. So, yeah. Which I guess kind of makes sense considering where the show is set. So.
Yeah, it's a good code phrase, I guess. It's not something that somebody's gonna randomly say. So we see Lala go to see the gunman that Gambi was getting information about Proctor from. And then we don't see what happens. Then later in the episode, at the end of the episode, Tobias brings Lala to him, and Lala looks like he's about to take Tobias out, and I was like, okay, all right, got that energy. He got that energy. He said, he's like, when I see him, I'm gonna take him out. I was like, cool. And then Tobias says, the devil deals the cards again, and we see him kind of blink and go blank. So, what did Tobias do to Latavius?
I don't see. That's one of those unexplained things because it's obvious. It's obviously some sort of post hypnotic suggestion that makes Lala a bit more compliant. But how was that implanted?
That's my question, is because what we saw, we thought was Tobias killing Lala, mm-hmm. And then we thought he came back. So now I'm wondering if he didn't kill him, if he just knocked him out, and then they took him somewhere and programmed him. But that still, to me, doesn't explain the tattoos and seeing the ghosts, because that felt supernatural.
Yeah, I'm just all confused about Latavius at this point.
Could that explanation possibly bring on another character that we'll probably see in season 2?
I mean, I'm assuming there's a programmer or somebody who did this to Lala. I mean, we still don't know about what the ghosts and the tattoos mean. That felt like that was Lady Eve and the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. And I feel like I have all these questions. And also, right. Are we going to see Latavius break out of this somehow? Because it felt very Get Out. Like when Homegirl is battling, you can see her battling, and she's just like, no, like that. Like he started stuttering and mumbling.
Oh yeah, he was shook.
Yeah. And you could tell he was like, are you ready to do business or whatever? And you could tell he said yes, but his eyes were like, I want to kill you. Which, by the way, that actor is doing an amazing job. Because I believe that he is being tortured. So yeah, I don't have a theory yet. I just know it's all over the place.
Tobias is the king of the sunken place.
And doesn't it make sense? I was waiting for Tobias to be drinking some tea in that scene. Because that actually would have been everything.
So, okay, so here's the thing. Here's a question. So what is Tobias's end game? Because I haven't quite figured that out yet. Because he's saying, they're trying to take out, what's the ASA agent's name again?
Proctor.
Proctor. They're trying to take him out for a seat at the table. But Tobias doesn't strike me as a seat at the table kind of guy. So is he trying to take over the 100 while I don't know.
Well, technically, he's already in charge of the 100.
Having an in with the ASA, or I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do here.
Technically, he's already in charge of the 100. The whole thing was that he was above Lala. Lala runs all the stuff on the street, and Tobias, is the one calling the shots. But he had to live in the shadows because he's wanted and everybody thinks he's dead or whatever, or that he's disappeared, right? And then it feels like Lady Eve was like the intermediary between him and this conglomerate, the table, this cabal. And so now he's gotten rid of Lady Eve, so now he's moved up a level. But I don't know if his overall goal is to take over or if he just wants to hold on to his piece of the pie and have more, because that was the whole thing, was Lady Eve kept threatening to take him out if he didn't comply. So I don't know if his goal is to take them all out or if he was just trying to get to a place where they couldn't threaten him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, we'll just have to see how this whole thing plays out. Because I'm like I said, I'm a little bit confused about the interactions between the villains at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know why Latte is still walking, and he's now getting tattoos of people that he's killing in his fantasies or whatever. I don't get this. I don't get it at all.
Yeah,
and also, I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, I think they're going to try to do too much in this last episode.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that I want them to tie up. There's some things, okay, I can let that go till next season. But there's just so much. This is why I kind of wanted this episode to be 2 episodes ago, so they could spend the next few episodes trying to, knock out some of these storylines, and then, go into season 2, doing whatever you got to do. But
that's kind of why I felt like we didn't really need Khalil back with the Locs and all that, because I feel like that was just one more thing to have to explain and wrap up.
Right.
Especially when you now introduce Lala, the Winter Soldier.
See, I was holding back on that.
I'm just saying, I immediately was I don't even remember what his code is anymore.
You weren't alone.
But I immediately thought Winter Soldier, because the first time he did it, I thought he was just shook. Oh shit, Tobias is back. I'm shook. But then when he said it the second time, I was like, this nigga is programmed.
Yeah, he was fully compliant.
And it made me so angry too, because I was ready for my Lala Tobias showdown. I was ready for it to happen. I was like, yes. I was like, come with that energy, Lala. Tell him, pull out that gun. And then he was like, the devil deals the cards, and he just sat down. I was like, what is happening?
And Cyanide had keys.
She did. So messed up.
I want to see more Cyanide in season 2, to be honest.
I did. Wait, that was the other thing too. When she got cut, Like, I couldn't tell if it was just that, if that was just her shirt underneath or like her skin was funky.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, they did like a close up on it. Like, her skin looked weird.
Yeah, I couldn't even make out what it was. Like, yeah, it was weird.
Okay. Just as long as we noticed. Okay. So when it turns out she's actually like an alien person, we can.
That's what I'm saying. Were they scales? Like, is she a reptile lady or something? I don't. Yeah, that was weird.
Mm-hmm. Now that we've discussed it, anybody else want to change how they feel about the episode?
Okay, I have a question. So remember when Anissa was getting that information about the power spikes, and she got it from, I guess, some dude that was fiending for her. And Jefferson says, "Were you trying to flirt with him or something like that?" She said, "No." No, actually, Jefferson asked if he had a crush on her, and that Anissa was using that to get information. Anyway, here's my question: how long has Anissa been out? Because
I think they I can't remember if Lynn gave a timeline, but it sounded like it happened in high school. Or like,
okay, so
or at least in college.
I mean, I'm not saying lesbians can't be fine, but normally dudes aren't trying to talk to them.
Oh, yeah, that is a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie.
Well, and truly a lie.
I've seen so many dudes try and talk to women knowing that they're lesbians. There's a whole contingent of men out there who are like, all that means is you haven't had good penis yet.
Maybe.
Just saying. For most men who like don't care, they're like, for them a lesbian is just a girl who is bi and hasn't had good dick.
Right. There are a lot of guys that just think of it as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that just seemed like why? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that. I thought it was weird that Jefferson was like, "Did you like flirt with him to get this information?" And I was like, "And if she did?"
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and then she said no, and then both Jefferson and the suit man gave Anissa that we don't believe you. You need more people. Look,
see, I like Gabby because Gabby was looking at her like pretty smart. If you did, like, I was like, she should, like, you gotta use all your, you gotta use every tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if the whole line of questioning was just really more to pick on her than anything else.
Yeah, it was just like to have a moment, and of course she was extra as Anissa usually is. Dad,
right?
Girl, you're a grown ass woman. I would have been like, Ann, get on task. Like,
you gotta do what you got.
Yeah, like, she's grown. Like, let her flourish. I just Jefferson's so extra. Anything else about this episode?
Like I said, I stick with what I said. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. But just understand that, I'm at a point where I'm forgiving a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. I get it. I feel like people are also doing that with The Flash right now. People are forgiving a lot of stuff on that show. So.
Yeah, because I mean, we all know my frustrations. What parts of the show I'm frustrated with, and it's just like, okay, I'm still watching it, so it can't be that bad. I'm just gonna let it. I'm just gonna let them cook.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see the where it ends up, and I'm really interested for season 2 to see kind of what changes they make if the storytelling gets tighter. But yeah, lately I've just been noticing with some of these CW superhero shows how it feels like these characters have progressed, and then the next episode, because they want the story to go a different way, they seem to like fall back, and it just feels like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And that has been really frustrating.
We come together because opposites attract.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry,
but that's terrible. Yeah, that's how I felt about Lynn. It was like the Lynn thing. It felt like another, like her behavior feels so schizophrenic, and it's really frustrating because I really feel like they introduced her as somebody who is really smart and really competent and had a legitimate reason for ending that relationship, even though she still loved him. And I don't know, to me, that same woman would not be like, come over, I'm waiting in lingerie.
Yeah, there's a spider. Can you kill it for me?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It seems like she's a utility character. Like she's whatever they need her to be at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh. But I have faith, though. It'll wrap up. It'll wrap up at least in a way that'll make us come back. I have faith in that much.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Khalil see. Gets a haircut.
What'd you say?
I said I hope Khalil gets a haircut.
Just cut it off, and then you can have it back for season 2. But right now, we got to take it away from you.
God. Ugh. I'm like, he left Riverdale for this.
I do remember him from Riverdale. I've only watched the first episode, first season of Riverdale. He was an asshole.
Mm-hmm. And the part of that too was because the guy who played Reggie was doing 13 Reasons Why, and so basically he couldn't be around shooting, so they gave Chuck Reggie's storyline. So they basically had Chuck being like a Reggie Mantle asshole for the whole season.
Yeah, because he was the one in the hot tub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Darth Betty.
Yeah. That was amusing.
I love Riverdale. It's so bananas. It's so.
I haven't got to so I haven't really. I've decided. I decided I was going to let season 2 pile up and maybe binge it. Just because I'm watching a whole bunch of crap now. So is it still? It's still pretty good, I'm assuming.
Oh no! But it's crazy. Like half the people on the show are prostitutes now. It's ridiculous. Like I don't even know how to explain it. and I'm not being facetious. Like there's at least 2 people who prostituted themselves this season. It's Riverdale. I got nothing. All right. Okay. We are getting out of here. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week for the final episode of the season. The doctor and I will also be back with a new episode of Supergirl next week as well. We are recording on Friday, so I will have a feedback post up probably Wednesday for everybody to leave feedback for Supergirl and for Black Lightning, because we definitely want to get your thoughts for the last episode. Thank you guys so much. This has been a crazy season. I can't wait to see how they wrap it up.